And welcome everyone to today's webinar. This is a really exciting webinar. Over the last few years, the AI has been hard at work developing a warehouse management system that will work on mobile devices, such as an Android device or an Apple device. And what we've seen is that these devices have really helped our customers, both large and small, automate their warehouse. So for the small customers, this module has become a very cost-effective way for them to bring technology into their warehouse. And for larger customers, it actually just allowed them to do a lot more. And in both cases, what we're seeing is customers are really enjoying the training aspect of it, where the customer, the users today pretty much know how. Most users today know how to work a mobile device, right? So they're very familiar with the navigation, and the touchscreen and just kind of navigating around. And the mobile warehouse really displays the warehouse data in a very clear, concise format that's, easy to use, easy to understand. And they're finding the training times have been cut dramatically for their warehouse staff. In addition, one other customer talked to me about, COVID, and said, one of the things he likes about the WMS mobile is that every warehouse person has their own personal device. They don't have to share a device, so there's no cross-contamination with one user, using a very expensive gun and handing it off to another user. Because the mobile devices are less expensive, each user has their own device and is kind of helping with cross-contamination from COVID. So just some great aspects to WMS mobile. So for those of you not familiar with S2K Mobile, it works on both Android and Apple. And as you can see by the photo, it really handles everything that the S2K RF, back office system used to handle. And by the way, that hasn't gone away. So if you still want to use some of the RF and some of the older technology that we had, you can still continue to use the RF screens and devices, and just supplement them with the mobile device if you'd like. So we have quite a few customers that might be doing just receiving with the new S2K Mobile, but are doing picking with the old RF technology, the text-based, if you would, technology, right? So you can mix and match. The RF technology has not gone away, but we now offer the S2K Mobile WMS to really help you make transaction processing in your warehouse, lighter, easier, faster, really just, a much better platform for the warehouse, okay? So the other thing is that it can really help lower your cost. And what you can see here is I have customers, this is one of our customers using actually Samsung Galaxy devices that I think they got at a discount over eBay. They bought a whole bunch of them, and they just attached a sled to the device, which is which is the scanner. And they're using, a combination of the Samsung Galaxy device, the mobile device, with a sled. And I think the whole unit together, put together, cost about $400, right? With the sled and the mobile device. Okay, so I mean that's a very inexpensive way to go. Zebra and a lot of our partners that sell our mobile and RF technology today have quite a few rugged devices that are available to you that are in the $1,000 to $1,500 range. So per device, but it's a far cry from your traditional text-based RF units that were $3,000-$4,000. Okay, all right, and this is what some of the screens look like. We're going to go to this in more detail, but I just wanted to show you that what makes this technology so nice is the usability of the screens and how data is displayed, and the different things that we can show on the mobile device that were not so easy to show on the text-based screens. Okay, so we're going to go through some of these screens in a little bit. Okay, and here's what some of our customers have to say. One of the things that you're going to notice here is that when you implement any type of barcode scanning in your warehouse, your fill rates go up, your errors go down, right? It's just an incredible way. The efficiencies that you get from the warehouse, from automating your warehouse, are really second to none. I have to say, I've been, with VAI over 32 years, and every time we've implemented warehouse technology with any customer in any industry, there's been a tremendous return on investment, tremendous. And it's a project that, we encourage every one of our customers to take, because, automating your warehouse, there are just tremendous benefits to it. Right. So some of the other things we saw, cut down on errors, right. Being able to, cycle count and physical count a lot easier and faster, where you don't have to shut down your warehouse for 24 hours or whatever you do. Really the learning curve, it needs, with your users. You could see one customer said just a few hours, where it used to be days to teach people how to use the WMS. Okay, so just incredible return on your investment with the Warehouse Mobile. Okay, so let's take a look at, first of all, a little bit of the setup, and then let's take a look at some of the screens. I'm only going to concentrate on receiving and picking and cycle counting in this presentation. We just, don't have too much time during these webinars to cover everything, but you can see the WMS Mobile covers, every aspect of the warehouse, bin replenishments, warehouse transfers. I mean, it does it all. All right. Even some of the manufacturing, right? Manufacturing, posting to WIP and posting production, it does everything that the back office can handle, right? So, but I just want to cover a little bit today in this webinar and give you a feel for how the application works. So when you start doing warehouse management, everything revolves around bin maintenance, right? So in the back office, you're going to go into warehouse management, into bin maintenance, and you're going to have to map out your warehouse here, right? So you're going to map out your warehouse by bin number and bin type and area and zone and level. And as you can see here, I have some products assigned to specific bins, but you don't necessarily have to set it up this way, right? So you could say that maybe in picking slots, you have, set items that are always in these picking slots. But maybe in bulk, you leave it wide open to say, well, I can put anything here, or maybe I can put anything that's in a specific, type of product in my bulk area, right? And the system will help you during the put away process, right? You could set up specific rules to say, well, when merchandise comes in and I'm receiving merchandise, how do I want to put this away? Do I want to look immediately at the picking areas to see if they're empty? And if they're empty, let me put the products into the picking area. Or do you want everything to go to bulk and then use bin replenishments to pull down to replenish your picking? So there's a lot of rules you can set in the WMS system that help you really in putting away products effectively. Okay, so when I drill into one of these, you're going to see these are the different bin types. All right, so you have picking bins, you have bulk bins, you have quarantine bins, which you can set up where if you want to, quarantine a product when it comes in and not have it available for sale, you can quarantine it. You're going to have to also define staging bins. So all of your, unloading, like your loading dock or your staging your bay doors for, for delivery or shipment, those are also going to have to be given locations. You can also, if you deliver with your own trucks, create a truck bin where you'll be scanning product onto a truck for delivery, so you know that it was loaded on a truck. And if you do any manufacturing, you can even create a bin for WIP, where at a manufacturing work center, you might have different types of component parts, in stock in those in that area that you can also set to be replenished on a regular basis, right? So those are the types of different bins that you have. And when you drill in, you're going to see the bin maintenance looks something like this, where, as I mentioned earlier, you can assign a specific item to a bin, right? So this is a picking bin that I'm assigning a specific item. But let's say this was a bulk bin. I could say that I don't want a specific item, but I'd like these items in this specific division or class in this bin, right? So I want to try to keep in my bulk areas, like products, similar type of products in the bin area. And you can see you could define the max weight, max cube, bin, bin characteristics. You can also just set a min and max quantity for a bin if you'd like. And the system will help you when you receive products, like I said, find appropriate, location. Okay. If you're doing things like lot control, there are feature flags that say, I don't want to mix lots in a bin, right? You can also say that you allow to have, mixed lots in a bin, right? So there's a lot of, different types of controls that you have in the bin maintenance file. One of the new features that's available in S2K 6.1 and higher is the reserved customer bin, which is really nice. And what this is you're able to flag a bin that anything you put in this bin is reserved for a customer. Maybe you have a very important customer that you want to save, merchandise for, and you can create a bin for them, and you say anything that you put in here will be reserved for that customer. Right. So what that means from a customer service standpoint is, let's say you have a product, let's just say it's cups. And right now you have, 200 cases in your main warehouse, but you put another 100 cases in a customer reserved bin. Okay. So when any other customer but the reserved customer look at your inventory when you're in order entry, they're going to see the quantity available is 200, which is in your main warehouse. But when that customer specifically calls, they're going to see 300 available, meaning they're going to see what's in your general stock plus the extra 100 that you put into a customer reserve bin. Okay. And you're going to have visibility of that also in your item inquiry. When you're looking at your item inquiry, you'll see what's in what bins and what's reserved for specific customers. So that's a new feature that's pretty nice. Okay. So let's take a look at something we recently added to the mobile system, which is called mobile product maintenance. So one of the things we understood when our customers were setting up mobile is that, it might be difficult to them to understand in the beginning, what products are in what bins. Maybe they don't have all the UPCs they need, the barcodes, to do warehouse management. So what we did is we added a section in the mobile device called product maintenance that's going to help you in setting up your warehouse. And let's take a look at that. So first things first, you can find a product, right? So you can say, all right, I need some help in setting up this particular product in your product master file. So you do a search, you find the product, and you can see what you can do is you can now assign the bin or bins, multiple bins if you want, to this product. You can help maintain the UPC codes. Could be a single code, could be a case code, could be an interpack code. You can maintain the UPC codes for that product, and you can also upload an image to the product if you don't have an image, right? So the first one, bin maintenance, says, okay, this product is in what bin? And you would scan the bin. Right? You would scan the bin and you would sign it to that bin, and then you could say what the min and max levels for this product in that bin are, and it really sets up your bin maintenance for that product. Okay. The other thing is the UPC code, right? So you could say, well, the outer case has this UPC, the inner each, maybe it's an inner pack, an inner each has this UPC, and you can just scan the UPC, say what unit of measure it is, and that'll update the S2K item master file with that UPC and that unit of measure for that product. Okay. And then the last thing is the picture, right? So you can say, I want to take a picture of the product. I'm just taking a picture of something on my desk, right? And you could say, I want to assign this image to that product. Okay. So now you have images with your products, and that really helps you in setting up your warehouse. You can just walk around with these, with your mobile devices and really get your bins assigned initially and your UPC codes all assigned. And, users can go back to that at any time. So if a product comes in and maybe it's a different supplier or something, and you say, oh, I don't have this UPC assigned to that product, you can quickly and easily assign that UPC to that product. Okay. The other thing we gave you on this menu is forms and labels. Right. So this is an area where you can go to and, print any form that you want, but it's also very helpful in printing labels. So when you're setting up your warehouse, you're going to walk around and start printing your bin labels, right? So that you want to have these labels on your bins, right? You might have to relabel a product. Maybe the label got ripped or it's, destroyed, or it doesn't have a label. You can come here and print an item label at any time. Okay, so you can see you can reprint pallet tags, you can reprint shipping labels, packing slips, bill of ladings, whatever you need to print is off of the forms and labels area. Okay, and it just really helps you in managing and making the setup of the WMS a lot quicker and easier. Okay, so you scan the bin and you print the label. Okay, so let's take a look at the mobile receiving. And like I said, I only have time in this webinar to kind of do the basics, right? Just want to give you a sense of the screens and how the basics work. There are a lot of features and functions that you can turn on and off in our system in the mobile devices to make them do different things and have different capabilities. So this is just a very high level overview of some of these processes. Okay, so let's sign on to the mobile device, and let's go into receiving. All right, so you can see all the different type of receiving that you can do. You can do PO receiving, transfer receiving, cargo receiving, returns, RAs, RMAs from your customers. You can receive those, and you can pre-print labels for products coming in off a PO. So a lot of different options here, but let's just go into PO receiving. Right, so this would be an open list of POs, and in my demo setting this up, I only put one purchase order in, but this would be a list of purchase orders, and you could search on the top by vendor or by PO number and find a PO that you'd like to receive in. Okay, and you can see the little radio buttons tell you, are you searching by PO, by vendor, or for an item? Okay, so I'm going to grab that PO, and now basically I'm ready to begin receiving. Okay, so this shows you what's on the PO, what you've ordered, and what you've currently received in. So now you would just start scanning the products as you go. If your products were palletized, you can build pallets here as well. You'll see this in a second, right? So you can come in here, you scan the product, and basically as you scan, you can see it says this is what you've received so far. Okay. Hitting the little hamburger menu or touching the hamburger menu on the screen, you could see you have some options, right at the line item level, where you could do a receive all, you could reverse the line, you can print labels, you could put away whatever you received so far, and you need to put it away, you can put it away in post right away. So there's a lot of different things that you can do at the line item level. Okay, so if you touch the line item, you can also enter a quantity, then scan, right? So if I touch the line item and say, okay, I'm not going to scan in, the rest of this item at 119 pieces, I'm just going to type in 119 and scan it once. You could see that it allows you to just, simply, quickly, and easily enter in a quantity and do a scan like that. Okay. The other thing we talked about is pallet build, right? So if the next item that I'm receiving in is on a pallet, I would touch the hamburger menu on the upper right-hand corner and say, I need to build a pallet before I start, posting any item. So I'm going to click on pallet build, and the system will say, well, how many pallets do you want to generate? So if you were unloading the truck and you knew that you had, 20 pallets coming off, you could, build all the pallets and then just assign the items to the pallets that way. So let's just do one at a time here. So I'm going to say 1 pallet. It generates the number there. There's your pallet tag. And now everything I scan is going to be assigned to this pallet until I say close that pallet. Okay. So the next product here, I'm going to just start scanning the next 120 units. And now everything on that next item is assigned to this specific pallet, number 16. Okay. And then I could close out that pallet. I could say close it. Again, that would be in that hamburger menu, and I could print my pallet tag. Okay, so a lot of customers have, belt printers or something handy like this, where after they close a pallet, they want to print a pallet tag and throw it on the pallet during receiving. Like I said, some other customers may pre-print them and put them on, on fixed station printers as well. Okay, all right, let's continue the receiving process. On this next item, I'm going to scan an item, and this next item happens to be, I think, serial number tracked. Yep. So when I scan this item, it's prompting me for scanning of serial numbers. All right. So now at this time, if this item serial tracked, I would just start scanning or entering in the serial numbers, that meet that for quantity. And you can see it just as I scan them, it just puts them on the bottom. And now those are assigned to that item. What you're going to see here is we completed the receiving process, and I'm going to click done. And now I can print additional item labels if I needed to label products or put away labels or proof lists, whatever I wanted to print, I could do at this time. And what I'm going to do is just hit end PO receiving. And what I was talking about was in the back office now, you could see that under the bin analysis screen, where everything is. So you could see that the system showed you in this bin, which is my receiving dock, I've received in these products, right? So I could see that I've received in these products and, where they are. And you'll notice that on the last product, which happens to be the one I assigned a pallet to, you'll see there's a pallet tag associated with the 120 on that one unit. Okay. And as they explained before, you'll also have that same, capability to look up where products are on the item inquiry screen. So when you're looking up a product here on the VAI item inquiry screen, if you're turned on WMS, you're going to have a button now that says bins, and you're going to be able to track, what's in what bin. So you can see for this item, I have a picking bin and I have a bulk bin assigned to this product, but right now everything's sitting at the loading dock, the 120 units. Okay, so now let's do the put away. Okay, so now we're going to put this away, and what I want to show you that is if you have bin assignments already done, right? Our system, when you say I'm going to put away this product, behind the scenes, you could see it automatically has assigned where it wants you to put those products. So I'm just kind of showing you in the back office the move tickets that have already been generated based on your rules, right? So you have to set up the rules, like I said before. Do you want the products to go to bulk? Do you want them to, go into a picking area first? Check picking first. And if not, go to bulk. And based on all your rules, the system will say, this is where that product needs to go. So you can see those 3 products that we have are, sitting here at the receiving dock, and the system already knows what bins those products need to go into. Okay, and you can see that one pallet, it's saying, going to put it into a bulk bin there. Okay, so how that works is your product movement option on your WMS, on your warehouse, has already been updated, right? So the product mover will come up and say, okay, I'm going to go to the pickup, I'm going to go to the receiving dock and now pick up product. And you can see that these are the products that are sitting there, right? The 120 that we received in, the 120 here, and the 4. Okay. And now all they would do is they would scan the tag, or scan the pallet tag, or scan the product if it's in an individual case, right? And they're going to put that item into their possession, right? So as they scan, that item goes into their possession. And I just want to show you in the back office what's happening, right? So in the back office, you could see that now it's in the user's possession, and you usually create a bin for the user, maybe the bin for the forklift or a bin for the user that says he's picked up that product, that pallet, right? And he's still putting it away. So it's no longer at the dock. It's kind of in transit. Okay. And now when he finally gets to his put away location, he's going to click on put away on the gun, and he's going to see that everything that's in his possession. Now in my demo, I picked up everything, but typically you might do this one at a time. So I picked up everything at once. If you have double forks, you might pick up 2 pallets at once. It's up to you. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to scan this item that I'm putting away, and it's going to say, please verify that you're putting this item into this bin location. Okay. And again, based on your warehouse management rules, you can say, what is, is the user allowed to move it to a different bin, than what the system wants it to put it away. So there's a lot of rules behind the scenes that help you do this as well. Okay. All right. So I just wanted to show you now, back on your item inquiry, once you've completed that put away, now you're going to see that 120 units is in a bulk location that the system wanted you to put it into. Okay. So that's the receiving process. All right. So some of the nice things that we've added is that on the mobile devices, you can actually do a product inquiry. If you wanted to see maybe, where a certain product is, you can go in here, you can find the product, and you'd see the same information, bin information of, where that is. So, it's a really nice tool on the mobile devices if you're looking for products, right? And you're saying, oh, where is this product in the warehouse? You can just use inquiry to find it quickly and easily. Okay, and you can see there's a lot of options here. You can look at bin information. You can look at this product across all your locations. You can look at UPC information. You can get additional information on products, from these nice inquiry screens. Okay, so let's look at picking now. Let's take a look at the picking process. right? So really, and I'm going to just, in this demo again, just do two ways to pick. And there's a lot of different options here, but we're going to do two simple ways to pick. Pick an order, where order entry entered in an order, and you want to simply either scan the pick ticket or, work off of a list off of the gun and, pick it, right quickly and easily off of the, mobile device. Or you might be using Order Manager or Route Manager at creating pick batches from there, organizing your picks, your waves, and releasing them out to the, mobile guns, and that will allow you to do that. Okay, so let's look at these two simple options today. All right, and just for a visual here, you can see that if you're doing an order entry pick, you might enter an order. You may or may not print the pick ticket. You don't have to, but it'll show you a list of orders on the gun. Some of our users print the pick ticket and have the mobile device scan that and pick it up that way. Okay. And then the pick batches, if you do it through Route Manager or Order Manager, when you organize the batch and release it, it'll show up on the devices. Look, each batch will show up this way as well. Okay, so let's take a look at this. And I think we're going to do pick batch first. So let's go into Order Manager. You could see all the different things you could do from Order Manager to organize your shipments. You can look at orders by ship via. So if you want to get out all your UPS red first, you would say, show me just UPS red orders, and then let me do blue after that. You could do it by route summary. You could do it by customer. You could do it by item. You could look at a lot of different things here, right? So this is what the route summary looks like. Okay, this is what the ship via summary looks like. This is just, a way for you to organize and release pick batches better out to your warehouse. Okay, so let's say hypothetically, I want to, look at, I think I did all my orders. So, because I could see I'm looking at multiple ship vias here. So maybe I'm just doing it by date. I want to get out, all the orders that have to go out, this week or today. I want to release these. Okay, so here's where you would just basically select them. You could see it starts as you select them. It lets you know that the yellow dots say that they're selected, and then you would say, print out the pick ticket for these or release them to the guns, right? So depending on how you want to do the scanning, if you want a paper backup or have the users pick up a piece of paper and scan it, to initiate the load onto the gun, you could do it that way, or you can just have them go out to the guns through the list box. All right, so that batch has now been printed. Okay, if you want to, now that the batch has been released, if you want to assign this to a specific picker where they're the only one seeing this batch, you can use picker analysis here and assign a specific picker to that, to that batch. So maybe this is a customer, that is picked by one of your top level pickers or something like that. And you want to assign it to them, you could do that. All right. If you don't assign the picker, it's going to be out there as a batch that any of your pickers could pick up. And obviously, depending on how you set up your warehouse, you might have different tasks, separated by area or zone or level. So there's a lot of setup involved in doing this, guys. Okay. All right. So let's go over to the mobile side and see how that looks. So let's go over to picking, and I'm going to go into warehouse batches. And basically, based on the rules that you set up, these are the batches that I could, conceivably pick up, right? So the first one's done, but the next one's released to pick and it's in scanning or ready to scan, or, you have different statuses for your batches, right? So you could see that this one's in scanning process, but if I click on it, maybe some of the orders have been scanned, but not all the orders, right? So I could see here that, some of these are ready to pick and some of them maybe have already been scanned. Okay. So this is the batch that was released. All right. So I'm going to go through this batch. I'm going to grab that order. And the first thing the user sees is what we call the order summary, which just basically shows them who is the bill to on this order, who is the ship to on this order, and any order messages that were on that order that they might have to be notified about, right? So the messages show as well. Okay, so now you can see here that it says, okay, for this order, this is the bin location you need to go, and these are the items you have to pick and the quantity to pick. very clear, concise, easy to read screens. Anybody, the training time you could see is very, very simple. You would basically say, okay, the first thing, it tells you exactly what to do. Scan the bin when you get there. All right. So the first step you're going to do is scan the bin for the first item. All right. And by doing that, it's going to eliminate all the other items off the screen. And now what you're going to do is just simply scan the product. I'm going to start picking this calculator. Okay. Just so happens that calculator happened to be serialized, so it's also prompting me for a serial number scan. Okay. All right. And now that first item's done. And depending on how you like your users to use the system, you can see I'm saying show all lines, and it's checking off ones that have been completed. If you turn this off, then basically as they're completed, they're going to go off the screen. And really, then when the user's screen is blank, he's completed the pick. Okay, so you have a couple of options here. All right, so I scan the next one. Let's go to the ink. I want to show you this. This is something that you can also do with the mobile that's not available on the RF. So there is some extra benefits here of using mobile, because one of the things you can do with the mobile is pick and box simultaneously. Right, so if you were picking items, and this is great for those flow racks that people have. If you were picking items and also boxing them at the same time, you can do that with the mobile device. You don't have to send it to a separate, order verification program to pick and pack, right? You can do your picking and packing simultaneously here, right? So those first two items, I'm going to say they're in one box, right? So you could see that I want to close this box. I put those two items in the box, and I may want to close that box at this time to say that this two items are in that box. Okay. One of the other things we added to mobile is the ability to, right at the time of packing that box, have the ability to go out and use some of the online tools that are available from UPS and FedEx and USPS to go out and get shipping rates. Okay, and print your box labels at the same time of pick. We're basically using a web service here, which you can see in my demo. I don't have it set up, but we use a web service for UPS shipping to go out to UPS World Ship online and get that information. So it has to be configured. I don't want you to think this is a very out of the box thing. We have to kind of work with you and understand what tools you're using, but you can actually print out the UPS or FedEx or some other carriers labels right at the time that you're packing the box. Okay. All right. So, that's a whole separate demo about the labeling. We also would have those capabilities with, Varsity or other products that we use, Process Weaver. We could call out to different products. So, but there is a setup that needs to be done to have that function. Okay, so let's go to the next part. So now you'll see I turned off the show all lines. So now I'm only seeing what's left on this order. Okay, so you can see, I just wanted to show you as you scan, it's going to eliminate. Okay, so this is a product that happens to be lot controlled. So if you're scanning a product and you need lot information, it will prompt you for lot information for that product. Okay, you can also use lot inquiry if you want to look to see, what lots are available for this item. All right, so you could see that this is the lot, and you could actually just validate. And if you didn't want to, let's say the lot wasn't barcoded, and you just want to validate that that's the lot, you could just select it right from here, with your finger, and it will assign it to that pick. Okay, and now we have one more item to go. All right, so I just wanted to show you how you might use the product information here. Right, so let's say I'm picking this item and it's not there. I get to that bin, it's not there. Right, you can really lock down the system where you say a user is not allowed to go pick from another location. Right, if the item is not in that bin location, you're going to mark it short. But let's hypothetically say that you do want users to say maybe it's somewhere else in the warehouse and go pick it. All right, so you could use bin information, you could use product information to look up to see where it may be, and then you might want to give the user the ability to override the picking bin. And those are all user functions that you can turn on by the user. Okay, so this is the screen that you saw before where you can go in and maybe say, where else is this item in the warehouse. And you can see I have 198 of these in a bulk bin. All right. So these are just types of options that you'll have for your users, and you can say, okay, I'm going to override that, and I'm going to pick from that other location. Okay. All right. And if you didn't want to do that, let's say, you didn't give your users that authority, then basically you could see here that if I don't scan the full, I only picked one, that the system's going to mark it as, short picked. Okay. And then when you end it, it might ask you to say, hey, listen, if you short pick that, I'm going to send a QC batch over to the cycle count program to say cycle count. So it'll automatically send a cycle count over for this item if it assumed it would be there and your user short picked the item. Okay. All right. So when we end, I'm just going to go to the end here. When we end it, at this point in time, I can print out any paperwork that I might want to print for this. Maybe I picked everything to a pallet. That's another thing you could do. Whereas if you were going around with this order and you were picking it to a pallet, maybe you were printing a pallet label. But when you end it here, it just wants to confirm that you're dropping this pick off at the staging bin that was assigned during the order manager side. All right. So when I released this from order manager initially, it said, what staging bin. Okay. And I'm done. All right. So let's look at the other way real quick. And I'm not going to go through the whole process, but if I was releasing an order from order entry, just saying I enter the order, send it out to the warehouse, that would show up over here under customer orders, where I enter an order. And this is even good for counter sales. We have some customers that do counter sales and they say, all right, I'm going to pick this in my stock room for you. So you enter the order in, you say, print out a pick ticket. All right. And then it just basically shows the user. I don't have to scan the pick ticket, although I can. I could say these are the orders that are ready. So these are already been staged. This one's ready to pick. And I guess I'm not going to go through the items, but you would just, basically pick that order. Right. And it would show you the same screens, what bins to go to and what items to pick. And you would complete that, the same process as before. So you can work it very, very straightforward here, where enter an order, send it to the gun, or enter orders and create your warehouse batches and then send your batches to the guns. Okay. So a lot of different things. Okay. The other thing you can do is you can use mobile to replace or supplement your current order verification process. So as many of you may know, VAI has a fixed station program that allows you to pack items into a box. Right. So where you did your packing, you bring it to a packing area and you can do fixed station order verification. You now would have the ability also to use mobile to do this. And why is that important? Well, maybe you have tabletops where it's very hard to set up, fixed station. If you look at a lot of our customers who do fixed station, you can see you need a terminal there, a keyboard, So maybe you have just a bunch of tabletops that do fixed station, packing, and setting up a whole workstation to do it there is a little bulky. So you'd like to use maybe an iPad or maybe use a mobile device to do the packing. Okay, so you could do that now with the S2K mobile. Right. So this is what the fixed station looks like. I just want to show you for anyone unfamiliar with the fixed station. Right. So you would have a fixed station and a gun, and as items are scanned, you can pack boxes out and do stuff like that. Okay, but this is what verification looks like on mobile, where you would come in here, same process, scan the customer order that you're going to be packing. It would bring up the items that were picked, and you would simply scan them and build your boxes, just like you would on the fixed station. But now you can do it on the mobile device. Okay. All right. So I'm just gonna go through this real quickly, and I'm not going to scan all my items. Just going to back order everything that I didn't pick. Okay, so it's the same process that we had before, but now done on the mobile device. Okay, and lastly, I just want to show you what the cycle count screens look like, because, like I said, you can implement this in phases. Right? We've had customers, implement the mobile and say, you know what? I just want to use mobile for my cycle counts and for my physical counts. it's a easier, cheaper way to go around the warehouse and do my cycle counts and my physical counts than using the RF devices. I can give these devices to a lot more people to do counting. Okay, so they might do that. You might do it just with receiving or just with picking, right? Or maybe customer returns are just using the mobile. So you really have a lot of flexibility with the mobile device. Okay, so this is what cycle count. So you go into counting. Let's do cycle count by bin. So I can just invoke a cycle count by bin. I can invoke a cycle count by item. I can do a directed cycle count, meaning that I ran my cycle count routine in the back office and I said I need to count all my A products now or my B products. And that would be a directed cycle count to show you, all right, these items need to be counted. Right. But when you're counting a product, let's say I'm doing it by, it's like I'm doing it by a bin, right? So I'm going to say I'm doing this bin. I would go and say I'm scanning this bin, this item, and that item happens to be lot controlled, so it wants to know a lot and a quantity, right? So you could see, these are the different lots that should be, available to be notified, and I'm assigning the lot, putting the quantity in, and now I'm done with that product, right? So very, very straightforward. This is another product where I'm just saying, okay, also in that product, in that item, I'm sorry, in that bin is 20 of these. Okay, so you could see that I'm basically just going to a bin and counting what's in that bin. All right, and then at some point in time I would post it. All right, and I would say post, and that would post my count. Okay, the system would warn you if there's any discrepancies to ask you, are you sure you want to post this, or do you want to reset and recount? Okay, so again, there's some nice capabilities, just like we have in the RF side. It's also done very nicely here on mobile as well. Okay. All right. Let me just go through. I just wanted to, this is just showing you how the back office gets updated with the cycle count. Everything is automatically updating the back office. It's very, very important to understand that anything you do in the back office, if I'm doing a directed cycle count, so when I run cycle count, this is all going to the mobile devices. Unlike some of our other mobile products that can work disconnected, the WMS mobile applications, work through Wi-Fi, and they're completely real-time connected to S2K, just so you guys know. All right, so this is what cycle count by item looks like. You would go in, you'd scan the item, and then you would scan, the bin location. Say this bin, this is where this item is in this bin. Okay. Lastly, just want to show you that we've updated some of the dashboards and analytics for any of you running analytics. WMS Mobile does feed analytics, right? So if you wanted to look at, scans by day, you want to look at a picker analysis, how many scans, quantities picked by area, by zone. You see up on the top, it's all nicely tabbed where you can look at picking, you can look at receiving and who's doing receiving, right? So there's a lot of great dashboards that we've updated in WMS to give you, some analytics over this data as well. Okay, scanner, scans by type, scans by scanner. This is a bin analysis. How many bins, have products in them right now? Available space, if you would. Okay, my demo, I have, not the greatest data, but you use some of these to see available and total bins and things like that. Empty bins, how many bins are empty, percent utilization, things like that. Okay, so a lot of great dashboards.